Renaldo Lina, Thabiso Monyane, Etiosa Ighodaro, Robert Polievka. Those are the names that we're going to be discussing in today's video. But before we even talk about that, Kaizer Chiefs are not only linked with like 1,000 players, free agents, and everyone was ever good at 20, but apparently they have also been offered over 100 players and they just keep on rejecting them. Now, this might mean one of two things. Number one, people see Chiefs as a land of opportunity, so they try to offer their players to Chiefs because they know that the players will be well taken care of and it's a big team and all of those things. But on the other hand, they could see Chiefs as easy targets, a team that will just sign anyone. I mean, we could make an example of players who have just been signed by Chiefs, and most of us were like, how did that player end up being signed by Chiefs? I know you're thinking of that player. Don't write their name, please. But Nabi at least has been rejecting the players, and I hope that they continue doing that and they do not feel any pressure from anyone. Anyways, let's talk about today's news because these ones are coming from somewhat trusted sources. So we start with Renaldo Lina. So if you don't know who Renaldo Lina is, he's a goalkeeper for Sekhukhune United, and he only actually started playing for Sekhukhune when Eric Tinkler arrived, because for the most time it was just Kazapua and Sangare playing in the team. And then one of the games, I think he got injured. I think I was watching that game. And then Lina came on and then started playing and was impressive to a point that he is now even playing for Bafana. He had his debut last week Friday. So it's going well for him. But now Kaizer Chiefs are now they have not contacted Sekhukhune according to Itiski Times, but they are saying that Chiefs are set to make an inquiry. So they're not signing him. They just want to inquire and find out, hey, are you selling the player or not? And I think that's not going to happen. I don't think this is going to happen because for starters, Ukazapo and Sangare, both of them have left Sekhukhune United. So why would Sekhukhune United find a player who they think is good enough and then Chiefs inquire about him and then they sell him? These people couldn't sell us Elias Mokwana, for crying out loud. So why would they sell us a player that they really want to keep? Because with Elias Mokwana, they wanted to sell but not to Chiefs. But now with this guy, he's obviously their main keeper, so they're not going to sell him. So I think that this is not happening. But what is happening, however, is Thabiso Monyane, because the reports are saying that Thabiso Monyane was signed by Kaizer Chiefs 2 weeks before the announcement by Pirates came out. So I wonder if this changes the narrative that he is a reject to a player that Kaizer Chiefs strategically signed, because say whatever that you want to say, but for the most part, people were saying that these players are rejects because we get them as free agents. But there is a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold who went to Madrid almost as a free agent, but because Real Madrid needed him before the Club World Cup, they had to pay 10 million rands, 10 million euros, if not pounds, to Liverpool to get him to come there. So a player who signed as a free agent is not necessarily a reject. It could just mean the player did not want to renew a contract because they wanted to make a move, which seemingly was the case with Umunyane. I mean, I would also kind of feel disrespected as Umunyane. I mean, Lebitso came in and he started playing ahead of him. And then there was Ufan Royen who also started playing ahead of him. And then Shandu came back from injury or just from being sidelined and then started playing ahead of him. But now people are going to say that is evidence that is not even good enough. So I'm just going to leave it out there and have you guys have your say about this particular player in Thabiso Monyane. But let's also talk about this guy. This is Etiosa, God's power, Ighodaro. Now there are conflicts with Historiska Ighodaro, because I was reading this article Itiski Times, and they're saying that he's been at Sundowns for 6 years. He's been a Sundowns player in the books of Sundowns for 6 years. That might be true because he might have been playing in Nigeria, but was a Sundowns player. But in South Africa, on transfer market, it says that he only started playing in South Africa in October 2021 when Sundowns loaned him to University of Pretoria. After that, went to SuperSport. After that, he then went to Amazulu. Now, his contract is expiring on the 30th of June. And clearly, Sundowns have not exercised an option to extend that contract, one. But number two, why would they? Because I don't think they think he's good enough. Because Ighodaro for Amazulu, he scored 5 goals in 24 matches this season. Yeah, I'm just giving you a second to also think about what I just said. 5 goals in 24 matches, not him, right? So, does that sound prolific to you? Because yes, as Sundowns, he was scouted most likely by Utera, and Utera is now with Chiefs. You see where I'm going with this. We had the same situation with Umoris, because Umoris Umoris and then Ighodaro had a relationship of sorts because they were both at Ajax Cape Town at the same time. So now Umoris comes to Chiefs, who was at Chiefs, Utera. So he knew Umoris he liked him, I guess, in terms of pressing from the front and all of that stuff. So maybe he recommended him to Nabi, like, hey, there's a player who can actually come here and put pressure on defenders, but goals, meh. So I wonder if this might also have to do with that fact Uguti Ighodaro was seen by Utera, scouted by Utera when he was at Sundowns, and now coming to Chiefs is like, I know Ighodaro is a good player. And just to add to that, Sundowns wouldn't have kept him this long if they didn't think he was good. So maybe based on the profile of a player, not the numbers of a player, he still kind of fits what Chiefs might want to do. I'm not saying he does, but I'm saying from their view, he might be in that situation whereby he actually fits their situation. We're talking about Ighodaro, the guy right here. Now, this also brings us to the next striker, because the next striker on the list is this guy. Wow. Not him. This is, if you don't know, this is Robert Polievka. So, Robert Polievka, the story about this guy has been coming back to Kaizer Chiefs over and over again. I think a year ago, he was linked to Chiefs. I was in Indonesia, so 2 years ago, he was linked with the Chiefs. Move never materialized. It was a January transfer window, I remember that. And then it just disappeared. And now we're back again. We're talking about Robert Polievka coming to Chiefs. And I just decided, you know what? I'm going to go to his numbers. So I look at his numbers. He is 28, obviously, and he's from Slovakia, and he's contracted until 2027 with the team that he plays for in Hungary. He has 4 goals and 2 assists in 26 appearances. That is not good at all for a striker that we're importing. But I then looked, he's only started 27% of the matches, which is 7 games out of the 24 that he has played. So what that says to me is this is a player, if we're talking about rejects, this is a player who's not being played in his team. You saw a picture of Nukovic. So I'm going to a story about Nukovic. So Samir Nukovic, 2018-19 season, before coming to Kaizer Chiefs, he was playing in the 2nd division in Slovakia, right? So he was playing for a Slovak team, and at the time he was playing in 2nd division. He had 23 goals and 5 assists in 28 matches. Now, those are good numbers considering that their level there is higher than ours. What does this have to do with this guy? I'm thinking, since he was playing in Slovakia and you have this Polievka guy from Slovakia, you know, maybe agencies are looking at, okay, there is a player that was sent to South Africa and he was a success. Perhaps we could also send this guy, because Nukovic then went back abroad and then still came back to Royal AM. So you see that there is that connection that they know that South Africa, you can get something, you can be successful. Look at Nukovic, you know. So I'm just wondering if these two things are not connected, because based on the numbers, it's not looking good. So I don't know why it keeps on being linked with Kaizer Chiefs. It might be the thing that I talked about earlier, which is everyone and their aunties and their uncles are being linked to Kaizer Chiefs. But what do you guys think, especially about Ighodaro and Munyane, as I asked you? If you have not subscribed, yo guys, don't be evil, man. Subscribe. It's free. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals. phela umoya.